girls. We'll get started in child's pose today. Take a moment, take some breaths. Enjoy that feeling of slowing down and being quiet just for a few moments. Notice how it feels as you take a few breaths here, very still and quiet, and your body begins to get the signal that it's okay to relax. What a nice place that is to be. Just take a few more breaths here. Now reach your hands out toward the top of your mat, stretch and extend your arms. Lift the palms of your hands. Come up onto your fingertips. Then lower the palms back down, lift your forehead, and walk your hands off the right side of your mat. Crossing the left wrist over the right if you like, and then taking your forehead back down low. Walk your hands back to center. And then off the left side of your mat. And walk your hands back to center. Turn your right palm toward the ceiling and thread it underneath your left arm. Set your right shoulder down. Bring the right hand back out next to the left and turn the left palm up. Thread it underneath the right, setting your left temple and your shoulder down to the mat. And place your left hand back out next to your right. Reach out one more time long. Slide your hands in slightly and lift up onto your hands and knees. If you had your knees wide in child's pose, let's bring the knees back up underneath the hips. Let your belly drop. Lift your head, lift your gaze, lift your heart. And then as you exhale, slide back to child's pose. Inhale, roll up with a round spine, chin tucked. Then once your shoulders are over your hands, drop your belly, lift your gaze. And then exhale all the way back. Child's pose. Inhale, roll up. And look up. And roll all the way back to child's pose. Now this time roll up to hands and knees. Let the hips shift forward and down. And lift your heart, lift your gaze again. Then exhale all the way back to child's pose again. Rounding your spine. Inhale as you roll up, chin tucked. Shift your gaze forward and up as your hips come down. And exhale back. One more time, roll up. A little bit of a back bend as you lift your heart. And shift all the way back to child's pose. Now lift up onto your hands and knees. And make any adjustments you need to here to bring your knees under your hips and your shoulders over your hands. Leave the tops of the feet down on the mat and hover your knees about an inch off the mat. And shift your gaze right between your hands. Then step the knees down, turn the toes under, and lift your hips up and press back. Downward facing dog. Turn your heels up to face the ceiling so your feet are parallel. Maybe just a slight bend in your knees here. Heels float up off the mat. Big breath in as you press your chest back. And as you exhale, walk. Take as many steps as you like, all the way to the top of the mat. Plant the feet and we'll take a forward fold. So your feet can be really close together if you like, or a little space in between. Put a bend in your knees so that touching your fingertips down to the mat is accessible. Let's hold opposite elbows here in this forward fold. Hinge from your hips and let your chest and your belly come in toward your thighs as your elbows and the top of your head drop down toward the mat. Release the elbows. Slide your hands up your shins and lengthen your spine, lifting halfway up as you breathe in. Exhale, fold forward, bend your knees. Now roll all the way up, reach overhead. Inhale. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, open the hands wide, bend your elbows, lift your heart. Exhale, come back to center. Circle around and up on the inhale. And forward fold on the exhale. Inhale, long spine. And exhale to fold. Plant your hands on either side of your feet. So bend your knees so that is accessible. We'll step both feet to the back of the mat. And we'll bring the shoulders over the tops of the hands. So we're in plank pose now. You can lower the knees in plank pose if you like. Take a big breath here. Then bend the elbows and lower slowly down to the mat. Release the tops of the feet down to the mat. Inhale, lift your heart. Elbows stay really close here into the rib cage. Exhale. Push up to your hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Walk forward to the top of the mat. Hands on the shins. Long spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up, reach overhead. And hands to your heart. Inhale, open, lift your heart. Exhale, palms together, circle around and up. And fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands and step to plank. Bend the elbows and lower all the way down. Inhale, lift your heart. Cobra. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Roll all the way up, reach overhead. And hands to your heart. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, circle. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Step to plank and lower down. Inhale, long spine, lift up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Brave in. Step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Roll all the way up, reach overhead. And hands to your heart. Today, I want us to flow through that very sequence 2 more times. And on the last time, I won't give any cues. We'll just kind of slide into the yoga zone. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Circle up, inhale. Exhale, fold. Long spine, breathe in. Breathe out as you place your hands down, step to plank and lower down. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Big breath in. And step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, fold. Roll up, reach up. Hands to your heart. Let's flow through this one time. No cues, just flow. Take an inhale and exhale, step to the top of the mat. Breathe in, lift halfway, and fold. Now bend your knees, sit your hips back. Sweep both hands up for chair pose. Reaching overhead, sitting your hips back as if there was a little chair back there you were going to sit down on. Shift your weight into your heels here. Maybe you can lift your toes. Breathe in and forward fold. Lengthen your spine halfway up. Exhale, fold. Plant your fingertips and step your right foot to the back of the mat, and we'll spin the heel down. Option to take your hands to the top of your left thigh and push up that way, or float both hands up as you reach up for the ceiling. Now let's take the left hand to the left hip. Reach your left hand forward, right, and see if this right hip will come on around toward the top of the mat a little bit. It's warrior one here, so this is a lot for the hips when everything turns forward. Then once you're there, we'll float both hands up, reach up. Exhale, bring both hands down, spin the right heel up as your hands land. We'll come onto the fingertips. We'll rock forward and back just a little here, just enough to get some momentum, and then step the right foot up next to the left. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees, sit the hips back. Chair pose. Reach up. And breathe. Nice bend in the knees. So you option to sit really low in your chair pose if you want, or maybe not so low. One more breath. And fold. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold. And plant the fingertips and step the left foot back, spin the heel down. Optional, bring the hands to the right thigh and push up that way. Float both hands up. And this time we'll take the right hand to the hip and reach the right hand left hand forward as this left hip turns around toward the top of the mat. Nice bend in this right knee. Then once you're there, we'll take both hands back up. Breathe in. And bring both hands down. Spin that left heel up. Come on your fingertips. Shift forward and back. And when you're ready, step that left foot up next to the right. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Roll all the way up, reach for the ceiling. And hands to your heart. Well, let's flow through that again. We'll add on a little bit this time. Circle around and up. Fold forward. Long spine, inhale. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, sit your hips back. Reach both hands up for chair pose. One breath. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step the right foot back. Spin the right heel down. Warrior one. Reach up for the ceiling. Bend into your left knee. So we want the left knee centered up over the left ankle. Big breath here. Sweep both hands back toward your hips. Bring your chest forward. Then big push back through the left foot. Reach back up. And bring both hands down. Fingertips. Turning the right heel up. And step the right foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And fold. Chair pose, sit back. And lift up. Exhale down. Lengthen your spine. And step the left foot back. Warrior one, reach overhead. You can get to warrior one however it feels good there. Inhale and exhale, hands back toward the hips, chest forward. Inhale, back up. And all the way down. On your fingertips, turn the left heel up and step the left foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And fold. Roll up, reach for the ceiling, big breath. And hands to your heart. We'll add on a little bit more as we go through this time. Circle around and up. And fold forward. Long spine, inhale. Fold down. Sit your hips back. Bend those knees. Chair pose. One breath up. One breath down. Step your right foot back. Inhale, reach up, warrior one. Sweep your hands back. And press back up. Here's where we'll add on warrior two. We'll lower both hands, left hand forward, right hand back. Keep the very same leg. So this left knee is centered up over your left ankle. Left toes pointing forward. So look down, right down the length of your left arm, right past your left fingertips. Turn your left palm up. Reach over and back, reverse warrior. Long side bend. Breathe in. And we'll cartwheel the hands all the way down. Spin that right heel up as your hands come down. We'll step to the top of the mat. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold. Chair pose. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, long. Exhale, fold. Step that left foot back. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, sweep the hands back. Inhale. And exhale, warrior two. Right hand forward, left hand back. Look down past your left fingertips. Turn that right palm up. Look past your right fingertips. You guys know what I mean. Reach over and back. Reverse warrior. Holding for a breath. Inhale. And both hands all the way down. And when you're ready, step the left foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Reach for the ceiling. Hands to your heart. Let's flow through this one more time and really think about your breath. Inhaling on the upward movements and exhaling on the downward movements. Inhale and exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, sit the hips back. Inhale, chair pose. And fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold and step the right foot back. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, hands by the hips. Press back up, breathe in. Warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Both hands to the mat. Pause a moment, reset, and step the right foot up. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. And fold, exhale. Step the left foot back. Rise up, breathe in. Sweep your hands back. Reach back up. Warrior two. Reverse warrior. And both hands down. Step the left foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen that spine. And fold. Put your fingertips down on the mat here. And heel toe your feet out. Maybe your toes come about to the edge of your mat and turn your heels in. Sit your hips down to your heels. So if your heels want to pop up here, walk your feet apart, get a little more space between your feet. And then seek to lift your spine, lift your heart up. What that does is shift a little bit of your weight into your heels. So you might even be able to wiggle your toes because there's so much of your weight in your hips. And then if this is still difficult, you can always roll your mat up, get a little bit underneath your heels. Makes this a lot more accessible if your heels still want to pop up. Now place your fingertips down, lift your hips back up, straighten out, lengthen out, and heel toe back in. Plant your fingertips. Step that right foot back and spin the heel down. Now this time, let's start with the right hand and circle up and all the way around, going directly into Warrior Two. Looking down your left hand, past your left fingertips. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, back to Warrior Two. Straighten the left leg and turn the left toes. Now let's do a standing version of what we just did, seated or squatting really. Turn your heels in and your toes out. Press down through the heels, bend the knees, and have a seat here. So look at your knees here. We want the knees centered up over the ankles as much as possible. So this is a super duper hip opener. Let's work on opening the hips here a little bit. So you can sit down really, really low, or you can sit down not so low. Could be upright about here, or you can sit way down. You find what's good for you here. Now from right here, it's going to be a tiny, tiny movement. Press the knees open, really into the hips. Now relax. And then press the hips open so your knees go a little wider apart and relax. Press open and relax. Two more. Press open and relax. One more. Press open and relax and straighten those legs. Inhale. And as you exhale, turn those left toes forward, bend into the left knee and spin that right heel out, coming right back into Warrior Two. Inhale. Exhale all the way down. Spin that right heel up. We'll step back up to the top of the mat. Long spine. Inhale. Neutralize. Reset. Exhale, fold. Plant the fingertips and step the left foot to the back of the mat. Spin the heel down. Open up for Warrior Two. And we won't do that very same thing again this time. We'll do another variation. Inhale, reverse, over and back. And both hands back down to Warrior Two. Straighten your right leg, turn the right toes, and then turn both heels in. Let's go ahead and have a seat again. And bring your fingertips to the back of your head. Not to press there, but just to rest there. You could interlace the fingertips if you like. Now take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bring the right elbow down to the right thigh. Maybe it touches, maybe it doesn't touch. Inhale back up. Over to the left. Still sitting low. Inhale. Two more rounds. Over to the right. And up. Over to the left. And up. Last time, right. Back up. And left. And up. All right, guys, from here, straighten your legs. Reach up overhead. Turn your heels out now so that your toes face forward. And fold down, bringing your fingertips or your palms down on the mat. Hinge from your hips, lengthen your spine. Now take your hands off the long side of your mat onto the floor. And step your feet off the other side of your mat onto the floor. So we're kind of in a downward facing dog on either side of the mat. Now bend the knees and take your knees down to the mat wide. I don't teach this pose real often, but it's a super duper hip opener, and I want everyone to work where you are with your hips. Begin to walk your knees a little farther apart. Lay the inside edges of your feet down. Maybe walk your knees a little more apart. Place the feet directly behind the knees. So we're kind of a 90-degree bend at the knee. This is sometimes called frog pose for obvious reasons. All right, so once we're there, we're pressing up through the palms and lifting up. And you may choose to stay right here. You may choose to come down onto your elbows, but before we go there, make sure your hips are somewhat in line with your knees. We have a tendency to take the intensity out of this pose by shifting forward. See if you can shift on back. Take the hips over the line of the knees and stay right on your palms, or maybe come down to your elbows. We won't be here long. Hold and breathe. If you're on your elbows, come back up onto your palms one at a time. Now bring your feet a little closer together. It's a little intense coming out of this pose. So to the best of your accessibility, turn your big toe down to the mat and give a little push up, coming back. Then walk your hands and your feet back around, downward facing dog, back on your mat. Take a moment to reset. So from right here, bring your right knee in toward your chest and swing it out to the right and set the knee down close to the edge of your mat, the right edge of your mat. Turn the right lower leg in toward the left. Then slide the left leg back. We're going to open the hips another way now. Internal and external rotation of the hip. So once you're here, you can take a block and put it right up under this right hip, if that makes this more accessible. It gives you something to rest on there. So let's look back and see if that left leg went straight back. Sometimes we have a tendency to go back at an angle. So palms are planted, lift your heart. So we get this super hip flexor stretch and a little bit of a back bend. Take a breath in. And then maybe come down onto your elbows, or you could sit your elbows on a block if you like. So hopefully you're feeling a really nice stretch in your outer right hip and glute. And this particular pose, sometimes called pigeon pose, is way more accessible if this right knee is way out next to the right edge of your mat. Gives your hips a lot more room. Then option here, option to roll down and fold down in a little lower, maybe setting your forehead down on your hands. Now lift your forehead up. If you're folded in, come back to your elbows, come back to your palms. We're going to open the hip this way in another pose. Roll now onto your right hip and swing this left leg around in front, bringing the left ankle over on top of the right knee, inside the knee actually. Making the adjustments you need to here to kind of center up. So we want this, we want the feet flexed, and we want this left ankle inside the thigh here, inside the knee, and we want this left knee centered up over the right ankle. So we're actually now getting into the other hip some too. Sit up nice and tall so that this may be good. You may be happy right here. Option to fold in. If you want to fold in, you can begin to walk your hands forward. Now, if you're folded, tuck your chin, round your spine, walk your hands back in. We'll take this left foot off, right foot off, out in front. Take a moment to reset. And we'll make our way to downward facing dog so we can do all of that other side. All right, drop your knees down and under. And come to hands and knees first. You take plenty of time making your way to downward facing dog. Bring your left knee in toward your left arm and then swing it out to the left, setting that knee down next to the edge of the mat and turn the lower leg in toward the right. Then slide the right foot back, bringing the hips down low. Release the right leg and the top of the foot down. Walk your hands back in and look back. Let's make sure that foot and the leg went straight back. Always takes a little bit of wiggling here, for me anyway, to feel like I get there in this pose. One more breath here. Lift your heart. And then fold in, coming to your elbows or set your elbows on a block. You can put your elbows on 2 blocks. And then another option here is to fold on in, setting your head down on your hands. Lift your forehead. Begin to walk your hands back in. Taking a moment. Lift your heart. And then roll onto the left hip. Swing the right leg around and place that right ankle inside the left knee. Adjust as necessary. Flex your feet. It'll be different on this side than the other side. So once we're here, this is a little different than crisscross applesauce legs or easy seat. Sometimes we start our class that way because we're pulling in a little closer together. Couple of breaths. Option to fold in if that's accessible. If you've ever had a sciatica flare up, these poses are your friend for sure. Begin to roll back in if you're folded. And cross those legs. We'll take both legs all the way out in front. Take a moment there, come back to center. Hips. All right, bend your knees, hold behind your knees and roll back onto your back. Pull both knees into your chest. Usually when we get to this point in class, we'll do a little bit of hip opening, but we've already done all that. Let's release and set one foot down and then the other. Open your arms straight out to the side. And drop your knees over to the right. And keep the left shoulder down toward the mat. If you like, you can turn your head so you're facing your left hand. That's optional, only if it's okay with your neck. If your head is turned, roll back onto the back of your head. Lift both knees back up. And when you're ready, drop both knees over to the left. If your head is turned, roll back onto the back of your head. Lift both knees. Slide your hands in a little closer to your hips. Relax your arms, relax your hands. Extend one leg and then the other. Smooth out that little spot between your eyebrows. And maybe curl the corners of your mouth up. Bring your awareness back to your space. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. Reach your arms out long and stretch. Slide your feet in. Rock your knees side to side. And drop your knees over to your favorite side. Rest your head on your arm. Extend your top leg long. Push yourself up to a simple seated position. And drop your chin down to your chest. Lengthen through the back of your neck. Relax through your shoulders. And on your next inhale, reach both hands all the way around and up. Look up. And hands to your heart. Blessings.